the research that I mentioned before, that I did with Joseph Jaworski, we were actually surprised to see how many of our interviewees, all people who had quite an impressive track record in terms of creating innovations in their own fields, how many of them had their own reflective or contemplative practices. What is that? So a practice is stuff I do every day. So what, for example, would these people do? Well, you know, a practice is when, for example, every evening you go on a run, right? So when once a day you spend a particular period of time in nature. Or when, what many people actually do, you get up a little earlier than, you know, everyone else, and you spend the first half an hour, say, of the day in stillness by contemplating, for example, on what is it that's most essential really for you in your life, in your work, and basically focusing on what's most essential and allowing everything else that is not to go away, kind of allow the noise to go away, or using contemplative practices. Whatever you do, and people really do very different things, but what we notice is that really many of these people who are really impressed us with their work have their own practice, have their own kind of contemplative practice. Sometimes, so that's one. They also often have like their small circles of support, and that would be maybe like a fourth point, right? So it's, you know, personal practices that allow me to, what does a personal practice do? It allows me to operate from a different place. It allows me to connect more with who I really am, with my authentic self. And as we all know, many of us in leadership jobs these days face network leadership challenges. What is that? So a network leadership challenge is when, in order for me to be successful in my job, I depend on other people, and I depend on changing the behavior of other people that I cannot control. Not through hierarchy, and probably I can also not bribe them. So what's left for me as a mechanism of changing behavior? It's the quality of my relationship. And how do I develop that? Through the quality of my listening, kind of through the presence, like the quality of myself, of my attention that I can bring into a situation. So this dimension kind of, am I like my fake self or am I my authentic self? Well, people notice, right? We know that from our family. So what is, how much of my real self, with how much of my real self can I show up in a situation? Can I show up in my work and in my life?
On our website globalleadership.tv you will find additional footage, other dialogues with innovation leaders from around the world, and also the hands-on practices that help them and their organizations to move from inspiration to real change.